Debra sat in a room filled with family. Her husband, her children, her parents, cousins, surrounded by voices, movement, presence. And yet, she had never felt more alone in her life. She was with them, but not with them. Something in her felt distant, separated, disconnected, just out of reach. And as the feeling settled in, she began to notice it wasn't just this moment. It was everywhere. Not fully connected to her co-workers, not even at church, not really to anyone. The thought came quietly, almost hesitantly. Is this normal? And before the end of this week, Debra would begin to question something she had always assumed was true. Was she actually alone? Or had she only ever believed that she was? The coffee shop hummed with morning conversation. Debra sat alone by the window, watching people move past each other like strangers on parallel roads.
Another day. Another room full of people who don't notice I exist.
She stirred her coffee slowly. A woman in a faded green apron moved between tables, wiping surfaces, collecting cups. She paused near Debra's table.
You want me to take that for you?
Debra glanced up briefly, then back to her phone.
I'm still using it.
The woman nodded and moved on. Debra never looked at her face. She never noticed the gentle way Delia arranged the sugar packets, or the small hum she carried with her as she worked. But as Delia reached the next table, she paused, just for a moment, and glanced back. Her eyes lingered on Debra, as if she had seen something Debra herself had not. That afternoon, Debra sat across from her older cousin Ruth in a small park. The wind moved gently through the trees above them, scattering dry leaves across the path like quiet little warnings.
You sounded tired on the phone. What's going on?
I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I'm disappearing.
Disappearing how?
Like I'm present, but not really there. I go to work, I come home, I sit in rooms full of people. I stand in lines, I pass neighbors. I drink coffee beside strangers, and somehow, no one actually sees me.
Ruth listened without interrupting. She had known Debra long enough to hear the ache beneath the complaint.
That sounds lonely.
It is lonely. My coworkers talk around me. My neighbors barely nod. People ask for what they need, say what they have to say, then move on. Sometimes I wonder if I could vanish for a few days before anyone noticed.
And when you move through your day, who do you notice?
Debra frowned, as if the question had landed in the wrong place.
What do you mean?
I mean the people who pass through your life. The cashier, the woman wiping tables, the neighbor carrying groceries, the coworker who looks tired but still smiles. Do you see them?
That's different.
Maybe, but maybe not.
Debra looked away toward the walking trail, where an elderly man moved slowly beneath the trees. For a moment, she wanted to defend herself. She wanted to explain that her loneliness was real, and it was. But Ruth's question stayed with her.
Sometimes we ache to be seen so deeply that we stop seeing the people standing right in front of us.
Debra's face softened, but only slightly. The words had not healed her. Not yet. But they had opened a small door she could not quite close.
I just thought, if someone finally noticed me, maybe I wouldn't feel so alone.
Maybe. Or maybe connection begins before we are noticed. Maybe it begins when we become willing to notice.
Debra looked down at her hands, uneasy now. Ruth's words had not comforted her the way she expected. They had unsettled something. And as she sat there beneath the restless trees, one question began to rise inside her. What if the loneliness she carried was not only from being unseen, but from all the people she had stopped seeing? A woman approached their bench, pushing a small cart filled with handmade bracelets. Her clothes were worn, her hair loosely gathered, but there was a quiet steadiness in the way she moved. She smiled as she stopped in front of them.
Would you like to see something beautiful today?
Debra recognized her instantly, from the coffee shop that morning, and just as quickly, she looked away.
No, thank you. We're talking.
Delia nodded gently and began to move on. But Ruth reached out.
Wait, may I see what you have?
Delia's face softened, brightening, not with surprise, but with recognition. She held up a bracelet made of small blue stones.
I made this one last night. The blue reminded me of the sky just before evening, when everything feels like it's about to rest.
It's beautiful. What's your name?
Delia. I come through here most afternoons.
I'm Ruth. This is my cousin Debra.
Delia turned toward Debra, not searching, not guessing, but seeing. Truly seeing.
I saw you this morning, at the coffee shop. You looked like you were carrying something heavy.
Debra's eyes lifted, startled. She had barely glanced at this woman, hadn't even seen her face. And yet...
I didn't realize you noticed.
I notice most people, especially the ones who seem far away, even when they're right in front of me.
The wind moved softly through the trees. For a moment, everything grew still. Ruth watched the exchange, not with surprise, but with quiet understanding.
Some people don't just look at you. They see you.
Delia smiled, not proud, not self-aware, just present. Then she nodded and continued down the path, her cart rolling gently behind her. Debra watched her go, and something shifted. Not loudly, not completely, but enough to unsettle what she thought she understood. Because for the first time that day, she could not say she had been invisible. So why had she felt so unseen, in a world where she had just been seen so clearly? Later that evening, Debra sat with Ruth on the porch. The streetlights flickered on one by one, casting long, quiet shadows across the yard. The world felt slower now, quieter. But the question inside her had only grown louder.
Maybe I just need to try harder, join more things, talk to more people, put myself out there more.
Is that what you really believe?
What else is there? If I want connection, I have to go find it.
And how has that been working?
It hasn't.
Debra let out a quiet breath, her voice losing some of its certainty.
I've done all of it. Book clubs, volunteering, online groups. I show up. I smile. I try to be someone people would notice. And I still feel alone.
Ruth watched her for a moment, not judging, not correcting, just seeing.
Then maybe the problem isn't how much you're doing. Maybe it's what you believe connection is.
What do you mean?
You keep waiting for someone to come along and make you feel seen. But you were seen today.
Debra's eyes shifted slightly. The memory returned, uninvited.
That was different.
Was it?
The question didn't challenge her. It unsettled her.
You didn't know her. You didn't speak to her. And still, she saw you. So maybe connection isn't something you force. Maybe it's something you recognize.
Debra sat very still now. The idea didn't comfort her. It disrupted something deeper.
Then why don't I feel it?
Because you're still looking for it in people, the way you've been taught to.
The porch light hummed quietly above them. A breeze moved through the night air, and for the first time, Debra didn't reach for another answer. She sat with the question. Ruth was quiet for a moment. A car passed slowly down the street. Somewhere nearby, a dog barked once. Then silence settled back in. The world felt still, as if it were waiting.
Let me ask you something. That woman today, Delia, did you really see her this morning?
No, not really. I was distracted. She just didn't seem important in that moment.
The words left her mouth easily, but they didn't sit the same way anymore.
And yet she saw you.
Debra didn't answer. She couldn't.
Not just your face. She saw something inside you. Something you hadn't even said out loud.
Debra's breathing slowed slightly. The memory felt different now. Closer.
I don't understand how she could do that.
Because she wasn't just looking at you. She was present with you.
The porch light hummed softly above them. A quiet stillness wrapped around the moment.
Most people move through the world looking past each other, searching for something they think is missing. But every once in a while, someone stops long enough to see what's already there.
Debra felt something shift. Not fully, not clearly, but enough to unsettle her.
Then why don't I feel that? Why do I still feel alone?
Because you've been looking for connection outside of yourself, instead of recognizing what you're already connected through.
Debra's eyes lifted slightly, not in understanding, but in awareness.
You're not invisible, Debra. You've just been moving through the world, disconnected from the very thing that allows you to see. And if she had been disconnected from it all along, then what exactly had Delia seen?
Debra shifted on the porch, her arms folding tightly across her chest. The stillness that had settled around her now felt uncomfortable.
That's not fair.
What isn't?
You're making it sound like this is my fault. I'm not ignoring people on purpose. I'm just tired. I'm lonely. I don't have the energy to see everyone.
Her voice cracked, not with anger, but with something closer to exhaustion.
I know. But loneliness isn't always the absence of people. Sometimes it's the absence of awareness.
Debra shook her head slightly, not ready to accept it.
So what am I supposed to do? Start talking to strangers? Pretend I feel something I don't?
No,
Ruth's voice was soft but steady.
you're not being asked to create connection. You're being invited to recognize it.
The words didn't land all at once. They settled slowly, like something sinking beneath the surface.
I don't feel connected. Not to people, not to anything.
The admission surprised even her. It was quieter than everything she had said before, more honest.
That's because you've been searching for connection in what changes. People's attention, people's responses, people's recognition. But what you're actually longing for is something that doesn't come and go.
Debra's breathing slowed. The tension in her shoulders eased just slightly. Not relief, but recognition beginning.
You felt it today, even if you didn't understand it. That moment with Delia.
Debra's eyes lifted, just a fraction.
She wasn't giving you something you didn't have. She was responding to something that was already there.
Silence stretched between them, but it no longer felt empty. It felt full.
Then why couldn't I see it?
Because you were looking for it outside of yourself. Instead of realizing, it's what you're moving through.
The words didn't explain everything, but they shifted something, deep enough that Debra could no longer return to where she had been.
I've been waiting for someone to make me feel seen, but I haven't been seeing anyone else.
Debra was quiet for a long time. The evening air had cooled. A neighbor's wind chime rang softly from somewhere nearby.
I've been waiting for someone to make me feel seen, but I haven't been seeing anyone else.
And when you don't see others, you miss the very presence you're searching for. It's hidden in the faces you ignore, in the hands that serve you coffee, in the woman selling bracelets in the park.
I looked right through her this morning, and she still saw me.
That's because she's already found what you're still searching for. She carries the awareness that everyone matters. That's why she could see you even when you couldn't see her.
So connection doesn't start with being noticed. It starts with noticing.
It starts with recognizing the sacred in every person you meet, even the ones who seem invisible, especially the ones who seem invisible. As Matthew 25:40 reminds us, whatever you did for one of the least of these, you did for me.
The next morning, Debra returned to the coffee shop. The same hum of voices, the same clatter of cups, the same quiet rhythm she had moved through 100 times before without noticing. Delia moved between the tables, cloth in hand, her steps unhurried. She approached.
Can I take that for you?
Debra looked up, and this time, she didn't look through her. She saw her. The soft lines around her eyes, the steadiness in her posture, the quiet presence she carried without effort.
Not yet, thank you.
The words were simple, but something in them had changed. Delia nodded and began to move on, then paused.
You're here.
Debra held her gaze, not searching, not performing, just present.
I am.
A small silence passed between them, but it didn't feel empty. It felt shared.
I didn't see you yesterday morning. Not really.
Most people don't.
There was no judgment in her voice, only truth.
I think I've been doing that for a long time.
Delia studied her, not to analyze, not to fix, but to meet her where she was.
And today?
Debra didn't answer right away. She didn't need to. She was already doing it.
Today feels different.
Delia smiled, not because she had taught her something, but because she recognized something.
It is.
She reached for the cup, slower this time, giving Debra the space to remain present in the moment. And as Debra sat there, in the same chair, in the same room, with the same people moving around her, nothing had changed. And yet, everything had. They sat together for a while, two women who had been strangers the day before, as the morning light moved slowly across the table and settled gently between them.
I've spent so long waiting to be seen, and the whole time, I was surrounded by people I never really looked at.
The words didn't carry regret the way they once might have. They carried recognition.
It happens.
There was no judgment in her voice, no correction, just quiet truth.
I don't think I was just missing people. I think I was missing something in myself.
Delia met her eyes, not to answer, but to share the moment.
And now?
Debra glanced around the room, taking in a man at the counter stirring his coffee, a woman near the window lost in thought, and a barista laughing softly with a customer.
Now I see them.
The words were simple, but they held something steady beneath them. No effort, no performance, just awareness. Delia smiled, not because something had been taught, but because something had been remembered. Outside, the world moved as it always had, people passing and conversations rising and falling in the same endless flow. But Debra no longer moved through it alone, because the thread she had been searching for had never been broken. The pain of isolation is rarely the absence of others. It is the absence of awareness. When we move through the world without seeing, we don't just miss people. We miss the thread that quietly connects us through every encounter. But the moment we remember what lives within us, something shifts. We stop searching for recognition, and we begin to offer it. We stop waiting to be seen, and we begin to see. And in that moment, the world does not change, but our experience of it does. Debra no longer felt invisible, not because someone had finally noticed her, but because she had finally become present to what had always been there.
And this is the pearl. You were never unseen. You just forgot how to see.